Homer or Virgil in the original language. Languages are amazingly rich systems, and each chapter of the book takes a language or couple of related languages and progresses more or less methodically through the aspects of a language's grammar that account for its distinctiveness. Most chapters begin with a look at the sounds of the language. We all associate particular sounds with particular languages, working from our perceptions of how native speakers of that language handle English, or latching onto sounds that are completely unfamiliar to us, the nasal vowels of French or the guttural fricatives of German. But where do these different sounds come from, and what do they look like when represented on the page? If you have ever wondered why written Welsh looks as though it has no vowels, or what gives rise to the sorts of spellings that characterize words borrowed from Greek, ichthyology, and rhythm don't look very Anglo-Saxon, then these sections will help explain in historical terms how these traits arose. Once the sounds of the language have been introduced, one is in a position to see how words are built up out of those sounds, and, as is important for the languages covered in this book, how the forms of those words change in order to indicate what their grammatical role in a sentence is. English may not possess many endings beyond s, ing, and ed, but most of its relatives in the Indo-European language family have at their disposal numerous such changes in form, so-called inflections, that can be used to indicate whether a noun is the subject or object of a sentence, or whether the subject of a verb is you, me, or a third party. All of these features can help impart a distinctive quality to a given language, especially when a profusion of endings indicating grammatical functions frees up word order for purposes other than simply indicating which nouns are subjects and objects, or which adjectives modify which nouns. But one of the more obvious ways in which a language can acquire a particular personality is through the words it happens to maintain in its lexicon. Indeed, one of the things that's always entertaining about picking up a new language is seeing what vocabulary items textbook writers deem appropriate for beginners. Often, modern languages come across as being relatively alike. One learns how to greet new people, order food, tell time, and understand a weather forecast. Still, most textbooks are also garnished with sidebars offering various cultural nuggets. Learners of Dutch will be told of gezelligheid as an ideal important to speakers of the language, generally said to be untranslatable, but cozy conviviality is close, if clunky, and the student of French will be given additional vocabulary to contend with the rich variety of wine and cheese in the land of Brie and Bordeaux. But those who write the primers of ancient languages have even more scope and reason to tailor their vocabulary to the cultures that spoke them. After all, you don't learn ancient Greek so you can order a Coke in Sparta, and the typical student of Sanskrit doesn't care about understanding announcements at train stations. People learn these languages so that they can read them, and those teaching them, recognizing this, design their vocabulary lists to match the texts that inspire students to pick up these languages in the first place. To read Caesar's military narrative of the conquest of Gaul, beginning Latin students typically learn a rich variety of words referring to weapons and death. Greek textbooks often take a philosophical turn and opt for more vocabulary in the spheres of being and understanding, reasonably enough, since both ontology and epistemology as fields take their names from the Greek words in question. That some words are language-specific is sometimes seen in translators' occasional reluctance to translate them. For instance, Greek polis hovers between city and state and is often simply transliterated into English. At other times, it's the juxtaposition of words in two different languages that highlights a point of cultural difference. Someone learning Greek is taught that the word